Welcome to The Vault at 201 North Broadway, podcast for innovators and problem solvers talking all things small business, entrepreneurship, and workforce development.
All right. Welcome to this episode of The Vault at 201 North Broadway. Today, we're going to meet a really cool local entrepreneur, Tiffany Miller, and learn more about her business journey.
Thank you to the Small Business Development Center for sponsoring The Vault at 201 North Broadway. The Small Business Development Center provides you with free one-on-one counseling, business plan assistance, marketing research, financial projection assistance, and more to small businesses.
So we'll just go ahead and jump right in. Tiffany, tell us about you.
I'm Tiffany, owner and founder of FRAE Everyday Goods. We're a eco corner store in Shiloh Commons on Billings West End, featuring sustainable household goods, everything you need for your daily routine. So laundry soap and refill, toothpaste tabs, anything that you use on a daily basis, but in a sustainable, eco-friendly option.
And if you've never tried a toothpaste tab,
I've heard lots of
crazy.
good things about yours.
It's insane. I mean, I was a little hesitant because it looks like a little mint.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then you just start, you kind of get you a little bit and it just foams right up and you just brush away.
So Tiffany, we know that businesses just don't pop up overnight, and being an entrepreneur and a small business owner, takes a lot of planning and things like that. So what was your journey like to get to FRAE and to have the storefront that you now have in Shiloh Commons?
Oh, that's a big question.
There's a lot of questions in my questions. There's like multiple questions.
We'll start at one.
Okay.
My background is actually in fashion and design, and I did that for a number of years in Seattle, and then moved back to Montana, had some kids, got married, did design kind of on the side, and that was going fine. And then during COVID, a lot of the events that I was making things for weren't happening. A lot of the stores that I was selling things in didn't have customers. And so I pivoted and made, guess what, face masks. And
I bet you were very popular.
I was super popular until mainstream caught up, and then everybody was getting them disposable at Target or wherever. So I think I made around 2,000 face masks on my little home sewing machine.
Wow.
So I would do homeschool with my girls during the day and then sew face masks at night. And then we'd run deliveries around town delivering face masks. And I had a lot of time at home to think about what I'd rather be doing. And then, during that time also I would go to the store and feel completely disconnected with everything I was buying. I didn't know what was in anything, where it was from, who had made it. And, the people at the stores, big box in particular, had seen me multiple times, didn't acknowledge my presence or repeat business. And it just felt really cold and kind of disconnected. And I think probably since I can remember playing when I was about 6, store with my Barbies and playing retail. And so I've always kind of wanted to have a shop. And so I combined kind of my background with fashion, with my want for connecting people to their products. And that's kind of where FRAE is now. We have a line of products that we make in-house to kind of reduce carbon footprint. We make them locally with, really thoughtful materials. And then we also carry products that I wanted to have access to in Billings. So I kind of got off my rant about wanting someone else to do it and did it myself. So here we are.
I love that.
I love that.
I love that line so much. It reminds me of our documentary.
I was just about the same thing.
She's like, something like, well, just why don't you do it yourself?
Right.
And I love that you did.
Stop saying who.
Yeah, who's they?
Who's
right.
they?
Who are the they?
Yes, you are
totally.
they.
Yeah,
yes.
I'm the they.
And so, so you just went for it.
Yeah.
You talked about as you were going in stores and looking at the products and not knowing what the ingredients are. Is that really where your passion for the sustainable goods and?
I think product, like ingredients is definitely one of them. Product packaging is a huge one. I think we'll go back to toothpaste tabs, for example. When you use up a tube of toothpaste, none of that is recyclable. And we've, are currently learning more about how much plastic actually gets recycled, which is very little. And so, finding options for products that do better, are better. The name of our company actually means from. And so our big focus is on the origin of things, where they're from, where they're going, what their ultimate life cycle will be. And so with toothpaste specifically, the toothpaste tabs we carry are in a compostable package. You can also buy them in bulk from us. So there's no packaging. You bring in a reusable jar, we fill it up, you use them up, come back in a week or two, fill it up again. And then there's zero waste basically. And we've got quite a few products centered around that. Shampoo and conditioner bars versus big plastic tubs.
Laundry detergent. Yep. Dish soap. We're actually today putting on the shelf body lotion. Yeah. And bath and shower gel. So you can bring in your jar and refill it. They come with a cool branded jar if you want to use that, but you can definitely bring in your own container.
I love
and refill.
that model.
Yeah.
It's so fun. You get to bring in the piece, which, when you're thinking about home decor and making places feel like home to you, having those pieces, but then knowing you don't have to buy the plastic thing, dump it. And no one likes to do that.
Totally. Well, it's a waste of time.
Exactly.
That doesn't make any
You're
sense.
I'm not using
all those
this
videos
plastic
on
thing.
Facebook.
Yeah.
I'm just what is this?
Right.
They're just taking it from one tub to put it in another. And I get it aesthetically at home. It looks a lot nicer. But again, it's that plastic tub that, whether you're going to keep it in there and utilize it till it's empty or you're going to dump it into another, that plastic tub is just going to go into.
Yeah. And multiple. It's Montana. It's super dry here. If we're talking about lotion, we use that frequently. So you're going and buying, 6 or 8 of those a year times, 110 households or 110,000 households.
That's a
in
lot.
Billings. That's a ton of plastic. And, our landfill is currently filling up really fast because we're experiencing a population boom. So, anything we can do to minimize what we're throwing away ultimately benefits everybody. So actually, when I started thinking of names for this company that I wanted to start, I looked at FRAE as FRAY, which is more like fringe and on the edge and doing something different. And then Googled that, and there's thousands of companies that are like FRAE & Co. or FRAE this, FRAY. And so I was like, how can we make this the same word but different, and looked up different spellings and stumbled on this FRAE, which in Scottish means from. And then ironically, my daughter's names are Remy and Ellie. So it's an acronym for Remy and Ellie, which is why they think it's called FRAE.
That's the most important reason for them.
Yeah, double reason. So it's,
In addition to the products you sell, I know you also do some fun classes and workshops. Could you tell us a little bit about those?
Totally. Another big push for us is connecting people and with their products, but also with the makers of their products. And so some of the classes we do in-house are meet the makers type programs. So there's, a candle company we feature called Ignite Candles. They come in and teach about their candles, and you get to learn how they make them and the products and ingredients, and then why they might cost a little bit more than a candle that you're buying at Target, because they're made with essential oils that are high grade, low allergy. They're just better ingredients. They burn longer, but you get to, meet from the maker and learn about that. So we have candle making, soap making with a local soaper. We're doing a letterpress workshop with a letterpress company. I teach a sewing class, and it's kind of centered around learning to repair and extend the lifetime of your products and clothing specifically. We do a intro to sewing class. So it's a parent-child class, kind of hopefully bringing up that next generation of sewers and makers. Because I think that's definitely an art form that is not dying, but kind of put on the back burner because there's so
what
much
a skill to have.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, with fast fashion, everybody's used to buying things and just taking it off the rack, which is, immediate instant gratification, but also kind of harmful to the planet, big picture. So if you can
buy the cool jeans that cost a little bit more that are going to last a little bit longer and can extend them by repairing them if they get damaged or altering them yourselves rather than sending them to Goodwill. So
I definitely think that was one of the most useful skills I learned growing up. My mom was very just like crafty in a good way.
Yeah.
But she was like, my daughters, and I don't know if my brothers learned, but she's like, they will learn how to hem pants, how to patch a hole, and it has saved me so many times when like I put on a pair of pants or something and I have to head out to something and I just know really quick how to like thread the needle, just like get it done, tie it up, and I can go and it's good.
Same with sewing buttons back on.
Yes.
Yep. Yeah, that's so handy.
And especially like stores will give you a lot of times
extra buttons,
But then if you're like, I don't know how to
like, I don't know how, so I take it home to my mom. But she helps me out, which is nice.
Totally.
You and your mom can take the intro to sewing class. I know maybe your mom doesn't know, but she could go with you for moral support.
Exactly. Help me.
Yeah, for sure.
So you talked a lot about like COVID and the things that led you to your business now. I'm curious to know, how do you know where, just from someone who doesn't know that world and those viewers, or those people listening, how do you know where to get your products and the things that you are bringing into your store? I know you're very intentional and I'm bringing these things in and not these things, but can you walk us through that process and what that's like?
Yeah. So, modern technology makes it I wouldn't say easy, but you can Google a lot of products. There's apps actually right now that you can scan a product from a store shelf and it'll tell you, on a scale of, 1 to 10, how environmentally friendly the packaging or the ingredients is. So we do some of that, lots of research and, watch for things to pop up on social media. Kind of fortunately, from our kind of inception of this idea with FRAE until launch, we had a couple years to really research and look for products and, make lists of what we wanted to have and what we wouldn't, make sacrifices on. And so we did a lot of legwork before we were actually in the public eye, which it benefits us a ton. Mm-hmm. And then, I think ultimately if consumers demand these products to be better and better packaging, suppliers will follow suit. So, for example, I work with this local soap company and she was packaging some of her product in plastic. And just this last week, she's figured out that that's not sustainable. She wants to shift. And so she's now packaging it in a muslin like canvas bag. Which is recyclable, biodegradable eventually. So I think if we continue to ask for these items as consumers, companies will continue to supply them. Mm-hmm. And so back to your question, we just really keep an eye out for those companies that are providing those features in their products.
So to tap in a little bit on that, because you said from your inception, you had a little bit of a rough start and, you had a different location picked out than the one that you're currently in. But you also kind of wanted to test the market and kind of see, what the demand is here in Billings. Can you tell us what you did to kind of test that market out, get your market, research, your feedback, talk to individuals that would be your target market?
Yeah. So it was kind of a big snowball with how it all started. So we launched our website in November of 21. And then kind of slowly started trickling out social media, mostly brand images, logos, kind of brand story, that kind of thing. And through those kind of initial social media posts, another local business, Roots Garden Center, John Schweitzer invited us to come set up a pop-up in their greenhouse for the winter. Because there were, obviously there's not as many plants in the winter. Mm-hmm. We're in Montana. So we were able to take about, it was, I think maybe 150 square feet of their greenhouse, which is a beautiful space. Lots of light, natural light, everything looked really pretty in there. So we kind of took a cross sample of the goods that we were planning on carrying. So we had back to toothpaste tabs, shampoo and conditioner bars, local candles. We had our wearable collection that we make in-house, just one rack of those items. Some food items that were sustainable packaged. Yeah,
the ugly fruit.
The ugly fruit. Yeah. And then, so we were in that pop-up format for 2 months. So we had boots on the ground experience. I was able to stand, with our products and talk to customers in the community and see, like, do you use shampoo bars? Have you ever heard of a shampoo bar? Like, is this a totally foreign concept? Would you try a shampoo bar? And really figure out whether or not, Billings seemed ready for these types of products, because some of them are kind of weird. Toothpaste tabs is kind of strange. Like it's different. We're in our routine and our habit of using these certain things, and change is hard. So. But through that, I was able to determine that I think there was enough demand for these products. A lot of people said we've tried those. We order them online. And a lot of people ordered a lot of those things online. Toothpaste tabs, shampoo and conditioner bars. They're like, well, no one in town carries them. And so through that, I was kind of like, okay, maybe I'll be the place that can carry these. And so I was kind of planning on doing it anyway. But it was reaffirming to know that, like, yes, exactly. Yes. So that was cool.
And then the plus side with that, you actually found some local producers, to be able to carry in the shampoo and conditioner bars.
Totally, and they're so that's our our big kind of umbrella is sustainable goods, and obviously right underneath that, local is first. So if we can find a product locally, we obviously get it local. So shampoo and conditioner bars are a good example. I was ordering through a company in Florida, and they were fine, but honestly, like, showing up damaged a lot of times. And luckily we were able to find a local supplier. And so we were able to switch. And so I think that's always exciting. I hope we could switch all of our products to locally made. There's not a lot of peanut butter farmers here, or peanut farmers, so we maybe have to work on that one. But, we carry as much local as possible because that is the most sustainable, no carbon footprint, and you're supporting your local economy, and it just makes sense. So
I love that you've thought about all of the process, like,
for sure,
all of the elements. I did want to mention when you were doing your pop-up in Roots, that's where I first met you.
Yeah.
And what caught my eye was the lentil crunchers.
We love the lentil crunchers.
We love lentil crunchers here.
They're delicious. Sure. I have a personal connection to Farber Farms, which is really awesome. But then just that, like, I don't know, half an hour I stood there and talked to you. I learned so much, walked away with my produce bags that I love, and I shed a tear if I go to the grocery store and realize I forgot them.
Oh, good.
So I just loved that it was, it's something that caught my eye, and I was able to introduce some of my friends to the lentil crunchers, which was cool. But then also, like, we stood there and just, like, learned so much from you on just, like, basic, here are some little swaps you can make today to start helping the environment, which is, personally for me, super awesome, but also, like, for the Billings community, giving back. And, like, you don't know it, but here's this tiny little thing I'm going to do that will hopefully later make a big impact.
Yeah. Well, and the greatest thing about that is, how I went in there a ton of times and just kept asking you questions about different things, and you test the products yourself, so you're able to be like, this is what I really liked about that, or this is what this is going to do. So I had a lot of questions on the shampoo and conditioner bars, and and then I did go and went in and got them and stuff. So they are interesting. My biggest thing is for me to feel, it's just probably a mind thing, for me to feel that my hair is clean, I need the shampoo to lather. Yeah. So I was like, oh, is this actually going to lather? And it really does. It's cool.
Oh my gosh, I haven't tried it.
But
now I'm going to have to come try it.
Yeah, it's really cool.
All about it.
I think that's a big thing with all these sustainability, like these different, what we're not used to doing or, feeling, trying. The big thing is to just give it a try. Like it might seem weird at first, but like the toothpaste tabs, for example, like at first I was like, what the heck is this? But after using it a few times, I was like, this is awesome. Like, and traveling, that was a big thing for me.
How awesome to travel with those.
Instead of taking a whole tube of toothpaste, I have, these little tablets that I can put in like a pill container or something and take it with me.
Yeah. Also the nice thing too is if you're going to go on a big trip, like Marcel was just in Italy for her honeymoon. So, let's say she was like, I'm only going to do a carry-on because, I don't want to worry about check bag. She doesn't have to worry about how many ounces of this she's bringing or something like that, because she's like, it's just tablets. Yep. That's not a liquid thing. Yeah. So
multiple benefits.
Same thing with the laundry sheets.
Yep. Yeah.
The laundry detergent sheets, if you're going to travel, it's kind of nice to just throw a few in your bag, knowing that you don't have to bring all these different like liquid containers to be able to do some laundry while you're out.
Well, and also less you have to pack then.
Yeah.
Because you can wash your clothes.
Yep. Yeah. We promote those a lot with, you can do a little load of laundry in your sink at night, when you're on backpacking or camping or whatever. They're super eco-friendly and easy to travel with. And, like you guys were mentioning, a lot of these products are a little strange or things you haven't heard of. And so we've totally recognized that a huge part of our responsibility with FRAE is education. And so don't be surprised if we give you a lesson when you come into the store. We're there to do that. We're there to give you a toothpaste tab sample and have you try it and tell you, why it doesn't have fluoride, but why it has hydroxyapatite, because it's more natural and it still prevents tooth decay. And, there's.
And so that kind of gets to something that you said earlier that stuck out to me when you were talking about your experience going into some of these bigger box stores and the products you're buying, and like no one acknowledges you, like we all experience this. How is that? How have you, done the complete opposite within your business with a customer experience?
Yeah. So, one thing that makes it a little bit easier is our footprint just with the store in general is fairly small. Our complete footprint is only 875 square feet. Of that, probably half of it is workroom and classroom space for our workshops. So retail is literally 400 square feet. And so from our cash register, we can see the entire store. Everything in there is really thoughtfully placed. We don't have 75 different kinds of shampoo. We have 3. And so it's a very simplified environment. It's not overwhelming. And so I think the footprint is one part to connect. Physically, you're pretty close to any of your customers. You can see them from, across the way. But also having that simplified inventory makes it a little bit less overwhelming, and people feel a little bit more comfortable, being there. It's not like a get in and go, grab my thing and go. It's like, oh, hang out and learn about these things. And this is new, or have you tried this? So
it's kind of like going to a small restaurant. Sorry.
Yeah.
When, I think of like Marble Table or Walker's, just as a couple examples, like you go and the dining experience is so nice because, well, one, like the customer service, but 2, their menus are so much smaller that like you don't feel like so overwhelmed with what you're going to order, because you're like, they do these things really well and I can't wait.
Yeah. That's simplified.
Yeah. Versus going to like the deodorant aisle and
you're like,
you've got like 600 options and you're just like, whatever's going to smell good and do the job. Right. Yeah. In yours, you have like 3 or 4 options and
we actually have 5.
Sorry.
There's an unscented, which is technically not,
Yeah. Something else I've learned too, just through like social media, is with some of those sustainable products. Like, for example, I think of the hand soap.
Yeah.
And it comes in a little tablet and you mix it with water, because a lot of times the hand soap you buy or the dish soap or whatever is like 95% water. And I don't know if that's the right number.
No, you're actually right. It's right up there. It's like 85.
So it just makes more sense to me. Like, I'd rather buy this little tablet instead of a whole bottle, and I get to keep this glass bottle. Like we mentioned before, that like matches my decor maybe.
And they wash really nice in the dishwasher.
Yep.
Yeah. And so it just makes sense to me. Like when you start pointing those things out to people, it's like, this is for you. This is the benefit for you.
This just makes sense.
Yeah.
Totally.
But you're also helping out our environment too. So it's a win-win for everyone.
Oh, absolutely. I think another thing that people worry about with sustainable goods is price point. A lot of people think that, oh, this can be really expensive and I can't afford this. And ultimately they're cheaper. So those soap tabs you're talking about, for example, the bottle, if you chose to get the branded bottle that comes with those, is $10, which is like, a good amount for a soap bottle, but the refill tabs are only $3 for 2. So you get a, $1.50 retail refill every time you fill that jar, and you're not throwing a big chunk of plastic away. So the economics behind it, sometimes you end up spending more initially, but long term, it saves you money in the long run, and the environment,
I love that. I use that analogy when I buy shoes, but I mean, that's not necessarily sustainable. I'm like, if they're nicer, they last longer.
Right. You buy less pairs.
Yeah. Exactly.
I mean, maybe.
You do. Yeah. I think you do, inevitably.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. I have all the cleaners because it's just nice to drop the tablets in. And,
Totally.
And they last a really long time.
Yeah.
Which from a business standpoint, obviously we're not going to become rich on selling you guys soap tabs. You know, we have other products obviously that compensate for that. So from a like get rich quick, I'm not going to get rich quick on soap tabs, but they're cool products. And
you do feature local artists' artwork in your store, correct?
Yeah. So we don't do a ton of artwork. We're pretty thoughtful in what we do. And so we try to choose things that are either of upcycled content, local, and then, you know, maybe have a good brand story.
Yeah.
Back to like our name means from. And so we're really conscious about where things are from. Currently, we have an artist from Helena that does some prints and, you know, are open to carrying other artists. We definitely want to remain pretty simplified in our space. So if something made sense to throw in there, we definitely would give it a shot.
So Tiffany, I'm going to take us down a different path for a minute. I'm curious to know, are you from Billings originally? Because you talked about going to Seattle and doing design things there. Are you from Billings? Are you not from? Where are you from?
Oh, well, like it personal. No, I actually,
this is the
I'm
personal
not
part
from
of the
Billings.
podcast?
Yeah. But I'm from Shepherd. So I grew up on a ranch outside of town. So Shepherd's, 20 miles north of here. And I'm 4th generation ranch kiddo. And I actually moved. So I grew up there, moved to Seattle, went to design school, did all the things, and then moved back here thinking I was going to take over the farm and help ranch and, live this egg lifestyle, and took one season of calving and quickly decided that this was not for me. It was just, not for me. But I do love that industry. I recognize the value in that. And looking at sustainability too, that egg industry is huge in Montana, and not to get political, but the beef industry is super sustainable for us in Montana. That's what's raised here and grown here. And so it kind of makes sense for us to support those local farms and
eat more beef.
Eat more beef. But I feel like I'm contributing to my family kind of legacy in a way through that. Maybe I'm not out at 4 a.m. checking calves, but I'm doing my little part to continue to support that industry that gave me so much growing up. And, luckily it's just down the road. It's not too far away, so I can still participate in some of those things.
This might be a really crazy question. Do you see anything in the ag industry that your business could potentially step in on to help it be more eco-friendly?
Well, so I think, supporting those little local farms, we're a pickup location for Yellowstone Valley Food Hub, which features a lot of local farmers and growers. And so I think us continuing to support and offer those products to our customers is a great way to support them, and featuring as much made in Montana and local, like you were mentioning, we carry Farber Farms, which is a, good value added pulse crop. Currently, we're not doing bulk or large quantity grains or pulse crop type items because of our limitations with the space that we're in. But down the road, I would love to offer, bulk spices and crops that were grown in Montana that way, and, support whatever way we can.
Awesome. I love Yellowstone Valley Food Hub is great. And so like Tiffany was saying, she is a pickup location for that. And so that is just a co-op that's actually established here in Billings. And what they do is they work with local producers in all sorts of industry, mostly ag-related industries, to provide you a one-stop shop where you can order your beef, lamb. They've got chicken and pork. They've got all sorts of things on there, produce, Swanky Roots, cheeses, lots of great things. And so it's really great that you have the opportunity to pick up your bag and then also get some of the unique items that Tiffany provides at her shop too.
Put together nice like kits. I know around Valentine's Day, at least last year, they had, is it seconde pasta?
Yeah.
Had little heart-shaped raviolis. And I was like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
And they just put together a whole meal. It was like some cut of beef, some ravioli, some other things. And I was like, this is just perfect. And I know you also do little gift sets or like just collections that you recommend bundle together, which is awesome.
I think everything looks cuter in a little box.
Yes.
Laid out nicely. So we did a ton of that for holiday. We kind of picked a theme. So we had like an adventure kit. We had a foodie kit. And just, save customers the time of having to walk through the shop and pick through everything. You could walk in, grab the kit, and be out of the store in 5 minutes or less. And we're going to keep offering those services, kind of like a gift bundle or a gift box, those pre-curated. We're really about simplifying that shopping process. It doesn't have to be hard. You don't have to spend a ton of time or money, and just keeping it pretty minimal.
And it's so nice too, I think, just like when you are going to a local shop, I love knowing like the owner or, the staff that works there, because they know the products and the goods. So having someone being able to curate that for you, and you can just be like, oh my gosh, this is so cute, and I can take it and go. What are some things that that you're excited about for this next year with FRAE that we should all be, and all of our listeners should be?
The inside scoop. So we're definitely expanding on refillable options. Currently we have laundry soap and dish soap, and then we've got dishwasher pods, but actually this week we're adding in body lotion and a body gel. And then within the next 3 weeks, maybe 4, we'll be adding shampoo and conditioner refillables. I love shampoo and conditioner bars, but it's a big step for a lot of people. And just to have that option, people can bring in their own container. So expanded refill is one thing. I'm hoping to expand our wearable collection too, which we haven't talked a ton about, but we make a little bit of product in-house, and so adding new items to that line. I think we're looking at overalls for spring, like a linen overall.
I also want to know about the wearables that you're talking about. Let's dive into that.
Yeah, so like I mentioned before, my background's in fashion, and so that's a big part of my life, or has always been. Unfortunately, the fashion industry, it does not go along with sustainability in most thought processes. And so we make small batch, maybe one of each size is out at a time, mostly made to order type things. So currently we have a linen pant, a short skirt, and some t-shirts and graphic items too.
Your t-shirts are so soft.
Yeah.
And you have a unique way to screen print.
Right. Yeah. So we do a craft screen printing method, which is non-toxic. It's definitely works for our logo. It doesn't work for every single logo. It's a little bit more organic in feel. The edges are a little rough. But if you wanted to take a class on how to learn to do that, we offer classes on that. And it's, less toxic. The t-shirts that we use in-house for our house label are actually made in New Jersey, but they're all USA made. We have hemp and bamboo, which are, fibers that are good, sustainable fibers. Mm-hmm. And then what else do we do in-house? Oh, we do an apron, throw pillow, kind of anything that we can easily make here, mm-hmm. rather than ordering from overseas or even, across the U.S. And, I would love that it'd be awesome if we could find a local textile, but that's currently one of our challenges. So expanded refill, expanded wearables, and those are probably our two big ones. There's some other stuff in the works that maybe we won't divulge too much information on, but
okay, but
growth
along.
potential. Yeah, maybe. I mean, we would love, like, our big pipe dream picture is to bring back the neighborhood corner store. So that would be going into different locations. I'm not sure if that's going to be having brick and mortars everywhere, but there's kind of an abstract process we're working through.
I was just talking to a guy the other day, and his business is called Jackalope Conservation.
Oh.
And you sit there and you're like, what is this? But the reason why so I asked him, I said, why Jackalope Conservation? And he said, when he used to have a neighbor that you talk to all the time, and he would always refer to businesses at like mom and pop shops as jackalopes, because they're special and unique, and so his whole thing is jackalope conservation. So keeping the small businesses, saving
cool.
the small businesses. Yeah. So when you were saying, open back up that neighborhood shop, it just made me think we got to have more jackalopes.
Totally. Jackalopes like the Montana unicorn, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
I love that.
Well, the one thing I would love, because you have been an entrepreneur for years, you've also been a really big asset in building Rock 31 and the founders within our programs. But what would you share with other entrepreneurs? Tips for business, things to look for, avoid?
Oh man, this has been just as of like the last few weeks that I've come to this realization is that, two things. One, it's really important to stay connected, whether that's with other entrepreneurs or, peer groups or whatever. We're just coming off of holiday season, and with retail, that's really easy to become disconnected because you're so, focused on getting the store going. And so I had kind of disconnected a lot from some of the weekly meetings that I go to, and after holiday was able to get back into that and realize like how much I had missed that, and how much almost camaraderie there is in this entrepreneur groups where you realize like, oh, you're in the tech industry, but your struggles are some of the same struggles that I'm going through. And so that's my one is stay connected. And then also walk away once in a while. I think as entrepreneurs, it's really hard because you love what you do. You're doing what you love and you're so passionate about it and want to be there all the time and really soak all of it up. But it's really important to walk away for a little bit and get, kind of a view from afar, look in, even take some time where you're not saturated in it so you can walk back in with fresh eyes and see what's really there. Because, that microscope view of being in the weeds all the time with it gets a little challenging to see where you're really at. So connect, but walk away.
I love
my advice.
I love that. Take time. I think that's really important.
Yeah.
Well, I want to touch back on that in just a second. But speaking of great community resources, let's take a minute to hear from one of our sponsors.
Thank you to Big Sky Economic Development for supporting the Vault at 201 North Broadway. Big Sky Economic Development provides leadership and resources for business creation, expansion, retention, new business recruitment, and community development.
Okay, so you were just talking about walking away. And so the other question that I have for you is, how do you manage stress in your business life, but also in your personal life when your business is your bread and butter?
Yeah, I cry a lot.
Crying is not bad.
No, I do cry sometimes. I think it's important, and I'm really lucky to have people to bounce ideas off of or bounce my stresses off of who are very accommodating in that respect, where they let me come to them with problems. And some of them are industry related, that are other entrepreneurs or in the same industry with sustainable goods. And some of them aren't. Some, my husband's a great asset. I can go home and talk to him. And even though he has zero interest in what I've been selling all day, he's supportive and, listens to my struggles. And, I've got a really supportive family as well and some friends, but I think it's important to have people to help you through those struggles. And then getting outside is another huge one. I'm working retail, so I'm in the store a lot during the day. And so I miss the sunshine and I miss fresh air and all those things. And so I think getting out into nature and, bare feet in the grass does a world of good for everything.
Yes.
So, those are my two big ones is to get outside and connect with people who will let you unload on them. And if you have to pay for that, I mean, do that too. You know, like therapy is totally a great space to be too.
Yeah.
So.
I love that you were saying that and going along with your tips for businesses. There are wonderful groups out there that you can be a part of to make those connections with people. That could be a lending ear in times of need, but also to share in your successes as well. So one of those would be 1 Million Cups is a group of individuals that we call them a community. They meet every 9 a.m. here at our building, and not every 9 a.m.
On 9 a.m. on Wednesdays here
every Wednesday.
My brain heard that and I was like, correct.
But they meet every Wednesday, 9 a.m. here at our building at 201 North Broadway. And there's a speaker or two that share their business journey for about 6 or so minutes. And then that community comes together and they help them tackle any challenges, that they're facing, but whether that be getting them connected with somebody else, providing them information or feedback, or just, they have a solution or a source for a solution. So it's a really great group. So if you are thinking about entrepreneurship or you want to be connected with the entrepreneurs in the community, that would be a great one to join. There's also a group of founders that meets every Thursday here at our building. And if that's something that you're interested in, you can always reach out to us, but that's also a really great group to get connected with. They work through different type of, curriculum, but they also have great speakers that come in and talk. And then it's a lot of just networking and connecting. And I mean networking loosely. It's just having those relationships and friends as well. So those would be great ways if you're sitting there listening to this episode going, gosh, I feel so alone. How does Tiffany stay connected, or how does she have those conversations with individuals? I'm not saying all of them come from this group, but I know she's been involved in these groups for a really long time. So those would be ways that you could meet some like-minded individuals to help you through whatever you're going through. Sorry, that was really long-winded.
No, that was perfect. Those are two of my favorite groups, actually.
So that's
nailed
great.
it.
Totally nailed
it. Tiffany, I wanted to ask you really quick, for our listeners who have been loving this, want to get more involved, where should they go to learn more about your store and some of your classes that you
we'll come to the store. First step, go to the store. No, so we have social media, Instagram, Facebook. We have a TikTok. We have a website, which has our events calendar on there. It's also on Eventbrite. Any of our ticketed events are listed on there. Yeah, those are the best spots to reach out to. The website's kind of the easy one, shopfrae.com. And then all our socials are FRAE Everyday Goods.
And that's FRAE.
Yes.
Well, we always like to end our podcast with some quick fire questions, or rapid fire. I don't know why I call them quick fire. They're rapid fire.
Yeah. Quick is rapid. Yeah.
But yes. I just like to be different. So I'm going to go ahead and start it off. What's your favorite product in your store right now?
Oh gosh. The deodorant.
I love that. One of 5 or 6, right?
5 different kinds.
We have 5,
love her
yeah.
deodorant.
Yeah.
It's great. I don't know how, I mean, it's a little personal, but like I used to get really dry from other deodorants.
Yeah.
So this one, my skin's soft. It works.
Yeah. So this one, not to get too into technical product stuff, but a lot of deodorants, baking soda is one of the first ingredients, which we know what baking soda is very drying. Particularly in Montana, we're very dry anyway. So you're adding dry to dry. That's usually the irritation that comes with some deodorants. So these deodorants that we carry in-house have really high consumer reviews. One of their first ingredients is coconut oil, so they're a little more moisturizing. And they have really nice scents too. So we have a grapefruit, there's lemongrass, there's a pine. We have unscented for those who don't want anything. And then there's one called So Hot in Here.
Yeah, it's like that one's very...
Yeah,
like
sassy
different from
one.
the others.
Mm-hmm. But it's a ylang.
Cool.
So, yeah.
Okay, our next question. What's some of the best advice you've ever received?
Ooh, I've gotten
and
really
it could just be like one thing that,
yeah.
that really sticks out to you.
Oh gosh, this is the most recent one that keeps coming back is knowledge is useless unless it's shared. So I can know all of these things about these cool products, but unless I tell you about them, it doesn't matter. So, yeah, share your knowledge. Yeah.
I love that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Tiffany, you mentioned you like getting outside as kind of a stress reliever. What is your favorite outdoor activity?
Oh, well, my favorite, I just like walking, like really like getting outside for a walk, but my husband's really into mountain biking. So
oh man,
we usually end up on a bike somewhere. And we live in a community that is really easy to ride the neighborhood. So we occasionally be found on a bike when weather permits. This time of year, it's a little more challenging.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. We really appreciate you joining us today and sharing your story and your information, and what you like to do for fun.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thank you for joining. You can find the resources and tools mentioned in today's episode at thevault201.com. If you like this episode, be sure to subscribe and share with a friend.